Hello again. I'm back with another update here. I am at the scale here in Lubbock, California. I got pulled in for an inspection, got an out of service order for something really dumb. It was Pitman arm bolt was loose like by a 16th of an inch, it looked like, or not even. And the bolt is stuck in position where it is and can't be moved. Tried to get a mobile mechanic to move it. He can't budge it, so he had to go get a different tool. It's obvious that the bolt was not going to get any looser if it was that stuck where it is to where they couldn't move it, but you know how these people are. They are very rule bound. They won't let me even leave here to go to a mechanic or shop. So I'm stuck here until the guy comes back and can get it tightened. It's already been an hour I've been here or longer. And there was a brake out of adjustment, which I can get done when I get done this load, but I don't even know if I'm even going to get done with it today. I don't know how long this is going to take. So I'm waiting on that. I'm going to give a quick tropical update. Um, they're hyping up this Atlantic hurricane season, and just like they're hyping so many other things up, this season has been a below average season. We have had only one major hurricane so far this season. I think we've only had three other hurricanes, which were minimal, which I question whether they even really were. They were minimal, borderline. In an average season, we get 6 to 8 hurricanes, so we're below average in hurricanes this season in the Atlantic. It's inactive right now. There are no hurricanes anywhere in the Atlantic or globally, for that matter, at the moment. None pending. They're saying Paulette's going to become a major hurricane, but there are two reasons why I do not think it's going to be even a hurricane at all, period, let alone a major one. First of all, it's getting sheared like crazy. There's a low pressure off Portugal that's extending the front all the way across the Atlantic. There's a westerly flow along this front aloft, and Paulette is what they call Paulette. It shouldn't even be called a tropical storm right now. It's getting sheared. It's a cluster of thunderstorms, basically struggling for survival under the strong westerly flow aloft. Renee, which was another joke of a storm, really wasn't even a tropical storm. They named it anyway. That's almost completely gone off the map. It's dissipating. Paulette is struggling for survival. It's getting buffeted by severe wind shear right now. They're not telling you this. And I don't see it being much more than a fish storm, even if it survives this. There's another reason as well why I don't feel it's going to become a hurricane at all, is because the ocean temperatures are not warm enough. They are in the Atlantic below average. It's obvious. We've had system after system come off Africa. Not one has even developed into a hurricane. Years past, maybe 1 out of 4, maybe 1 out of 2 might develop into a hurricane somewhere in the central Atlantic. We haven't had any this year that have done that, and what that tells me is the sea surface temperatures in the open waters of the Atlantic right now are way below average, and they're not disclosing that. They're saying that it's record warm. If the Atlantic was record warm, at least some of these systems coming off Africa would have developed into hurricanes. None of them have. Yeah, we have Laura. That didn't become a hurricane until it was within 100 miles of landfall in the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe there really was a patch of warmer water in that section of the Gulf of Mexico that powered it, as well as a bump up in the solar wind. I believe it was mostly the solar wind that powered that up. The solar wind right now is running at barely 300, has been. There is no energy for these storms to develop right now. There's all this talk of hurricanes, major hurricanes in the Atlantic, but none of it is, it's all talk. There are no hurricanes in the Atlantic right now. At the peak of the season, there's one tropical. Well, I say there's two. There isn't any. Paulette is not a tropical storm right now. I'm looking at the satellite. There isn't even a circulation to it right now. It is basically a cluster of thunderstorms getting sheared right now. There is so much shear to it that there is no circulation with that system right now. We are being bamboozled on this tropical weather season. Yeah, Laura did hit, but 1992, we had Andrew. 1969, we had Camille. 1992 was a below average season in the tropics. It was a globally cool year, anomaly-wise. We did have a major hit that year, being Andrew, but there weren't much tropical systems that year. It was the only thing that happened. And this year, I believe this hurricane season is winding down. We may not even see another hurricane this season. I would not be surprised. Yeah, we have systems coming off Africa. We do. But it's following the same script. It's a very large system. Covers a wide area of circulation. And I believe that's part of what's preventing these storms is the high pressure, as I've stated in previous videos, is very weak because we have a very weak solar wind. Without that high pressure, these storms spread out over a larger area of the tropics, and if the circulation spread out over thousands of miles, you cannot have a hurricane out of it. The circulation, the energy is too spread out to really get a strong system. It has to be compressed into a small area to form into a hurricane. For that compression to happen, you have to have it surrounded by a very strong area of high pressure. If that high pressure is lacking, that storm, I don't care how many systems come off Africa, without that high pressure, or if it's very weak, we could have 100 systems come off Africa. It doesn't mean anything. It just means the tropics are going to be very rainy. Because these systems are going to cover a larger area, more spread out, it's going to mean more rainfall for the tropics. It's that simple. It does not necessarily mean it's more going to form into hurricanes. And this year, we have yet to see a hurricane form off Africa. And again, as I said earlier, what that tells me is the waters in the open Atlantic are chilly right now. They're not that warm. They're below average. Because in years past, it used to be systems come off Africa, at least some of them would form into hurricanes before they hit the Leeward Islands, or got to that point. They would already be formed into hurricanes. I think about 1979, David, Frederick. A number of systems, even in 1979, just taking that year as an example, we had systems come off Africa, and they were already hurricanes when they hit the Leeward Islands. Back then, the Atlantic was warmer than now. That's what that tells me. And they can put out all the maps they want about temperature anomalies, how record warm the Atlantic is. I don't see the evidence of it. The Atlantic was record warm. We should be getting hurricane after hurricane forming off Africa. Yeah, there's systems coming off Africa, but they're actually weakening when they hit the Atlantic, not strengthening. So that tells me is the water is pretty cold. In the Pacific, there are no systems anywhere right now in the entire Pacific. You had those 3 typhoons a few weeks ago, and it appears that those typhoons probably drew all the warmth. Maybe there was that warm patch in the Western Pacific that I talked about, but those 3 typhoons basically took all the heat out of that. It was probably a shallow layer of warm water, and the 3 typhoons that moved over there probably took all that warmth out. That's probably going to be it. There probably isn't going to be much more there. So all these systems coming off Africa don't mean anything in terms of hurricane formation. You have to have certain conditions in the atmosphere which are lacking right now. You have to have the waters very warm, which apparently they're not as warm as they're saying they are. The evidence is all there for anybody who looks at it honestly. The evidence is there. We are not going to have much of a hurricane season this year. Yeah, Laura hit Louisiana. That was terrible. We had a very weak hurricane hit Texas back in August. And a couple of others that were marginal that may or may not have actually been hurricanes. To me, it's a below average season so far. Peak of the season, we look at the Atlantic. They're hyping up so much. Oh, there's 7 systems that might develop. I look at the satellite, I don't see anything. Other than those 2 systems, and one is now dissipating, the other one is fighting for life with so much shear. To me, it looks like not much is going on. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you found this interesting. Hopefully I will be out of here by noontime. It is a minor problem. It's not major. It's just a matter of tightening a bolt, a 1/16 of an inch that's keeping me here, basically. That has been that way for a long time. So that's going to be it. I will be back soon.